Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocketradio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
We shall do that right now. It is time for Coffee Ann on ON Radio on Thursday morning. It's August 24th. I'm Joe Callahan. Thanks for joining us this morning. And at the Coffee Ann table, doing his best Bob Lauder impersonation, is Dave Richards.
Hello, Joe.
Bob could not be with us this week, and that's that's the way it goes.
Happens.
It happens, and that's right. And so we hope Bob is enjoying whatever he's doing at the moment. And
Yes.
we expect Sue Tessier-McKenzie to be joining us.
Sleeping late.
That's true. We expect Sue Tessier-McKenzie from the call to be joining us soon, and hopefully a representative from the Woonsocket Police Department joins us at around 8:30.
Yeah, we're not
this
being silly
morning.
about that, by the way. Just somebody from the WPD will come.
Yes. So
Yeah, that's it.
okay, there we
So
go.
I'm kind of leaving it up to them.
So nice.
Who do you
story.
wish that you'd see today? Would it be Deputy Chief Caluro,
Or
Chief Oates?
Chief Oates, yeah.
Or
Somebody else.
The lady who answers and says, 1 Adam 12, 1 Adam 12.
All right. 766-1240 for comments and questions that can be called in. Nice story on the front page of today's call. They got all the kayaks in the water down there, Dave.
Oh, they did, yes. That was special.
Yeah.
They've been doing this down in Central Falls and in Pawtucket for a while,
Mm-hmm.
where they just say, okay, kids, come on up here, and free of charge. We bring a bunch of kayaks, put them in the water, give you some life vests, show you how to run them and stuff like that, and let you go nuts out on the Blackstone River. And that's Blackstone Valley Tourism Council that does that. And they were able to bring it up here to Woonsocket, to the big city. And boy, a lot of people took them up on it. A lot of youngsters were there. The mayor even showed out. She didn't get in the kayak.
No.
But she showed up and everything else, and Captain Bob Billington was there. It was a really special day yesterday on the very first paddle day in Woonsocket at Cold Spring Park.
And members of the Woonsocket Fire Department were there to keep things all safe.
Well, that's true. You know, it's always nice to have some professionals around.
Yeah.
Donna Kaler, of course, was there. From the Keep the Blackstone Valley Beautiful. She's the director of that organization, so we've had her on the show a number of times as well. And, I think it has a positive effect. 'Cause first of all, you're going to give a kid a new experience they haven't had before.
Yeah.
And that's good for kids. And it's all done under safety rules, so that's good for kids. But on top of that, it gives them a chance to get out there in the water, and they can see the downed trees, the stumps, the refuse, maybe a little litter or whatever going on out there in the water. So they get to see it up close and personal, and they can also get an appreciation for how to preserve that, which is very important for the next generation, I think.
All right, very good. And gives them it's a new way of exercising. You use your arms quite a bit.
That's true.
In
Upper
a
body
kayak. And that's the easy part, just moving along. Getting in and out of the kayak, that's the difficult part, without getting wet.
Oh, well, listen, that's like saying I want to go swimming and I don't want to get anything in my face. I don't want to get my face wet. I don't want to get in my eyes. Well, listen, folks, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. Don't get all bent out of shape about it. So you try to get into a boat, any boat.
Yeah.
Something could happen.
That's right, because they move. It's the way
'cause
the
they
way the
move.
water
Exactly,
moves.
right.
All right. We got the press release yesterday, and Dave's been having the news story today, and it's from the, I guess it's about time department. When will we get it? Because we kept asking Steve D'Agostino, when are we knocking down the Ho Kong restaurant? Well,
Yeah,
it's
we all
coming.
wanna get there.
It's coming. It's coming. There's stuff that's got to be done. Got to get all that asbestos out and all that stuff.
That's true.
And we got to get the
You gotta
pest
line
control
up-
people in.
Line up the people. Yeah, right. Line
Get
up
all
the
those
demolition people.
Get all those people up. Then you got to line up the demolition people. Well, it's
Yeah.
finally coming
Buy
to
a
fruition. No, you don't buy those. You rent those. And they're coming. So it starts on Monday, August 28th, probably about 8 in the morning or so. It says it's going to take a week.
Right, to completely
do the
because they're also
completely
going to they're also going to do things to the parking lot,
Yeah.
to the trees and stuff like that. It's really it's a much larger lot than it looks.
Yep. So so you might expect a little traffic backup headed on Cass Ave, not Cass Ave.
You're thinking of Cumberland Hill
Cumberland
Road.
Hill Road. As you're going by it, it's
Yeah.
probably going to be down to one lane in either direction to give those workers enough room so they can swing the crane around and the wrecking ball and like that. But if you want to, if you got next week off of like vacation and you got nothing to do, I mean, pack a lunch.
Pack a picnic lunch.
And go watch them do this. It's interesting to have they knock down this establishment.
Actually, a very historic establishment.
Well, it was always the Straw Boss to start, right?
Yeah.
And when did that open?
As far as restaurants is concerned.
Roughly.
That late 79 or
Okay.
early 80.
Dave
81, something
and
like
I
that.
were talking about the demise of the Straw Boss of
Oh,
of
that
what
was
happened
one of the
there.
tragic business stories.
Because they were doing so well.
Oh, they
The
were
gangbusters
they
right off
were
the
a very,
start.
very popular restaurant,
Yeah.
the Straw Boss, and the owner did nothing particularly wrong. He just got some bad luck.
Yeah.
One of his kitchen help developed hepatitis, and they didn't realize it. Because
Yeah.
you think of how many years ago you're talking about, and
Over
so
40, yeah.
right, and then it started spreading out of the kitchen
Yeah.
into the patrons, and once that started.
That's the beginning of the end, as for a good
Exactly.
cliche.
No matter what steps you take after that, they just don't go back to the restaurant.
That's right.
At least in those years. Maybe it'd be different in these more enlightened times, but seriously, yeah. And the guy didn't do anything wrong, and he made a beautiful restaurant, and everybody loved going there.
And they
I mean,
tried. They tried afterwards.
All the right people went there. All the movers and shakers, and Woonsocket went there. It was really something.
I remember being very well decorated on the inside.
Yeah.
So that was cool, and they tried after the whole hepatitis thing broke, and while we cleaned the whole place up and everything's fine.
Sure.
But people have good memories on these things. They're like, no, we just don't want to risk it, and sales went down and down and down.
And then it
finally
was taken
gone.
over afterwards when he went out. It was taken over by some very, very brave people.
Yes.
I always consider them extremely brave to open up a Chinese restaurant in a city that was pretty much dominated by Chan's.
Yeah.
And they opened up Ho Kong. And, of course, they never achieved Chan status. But it was an alternative. The recipes were different.
Mm-hmm.
And some people still like the Ho Kong. And they ran
they
that.
did okay for a
They
few
ran
years.
that for a while, yep. And then things kind of dropped off there as well. So I think it was more personnel inside that caused things to drop off. But anyway, that building's going down. There'll be nothing to gang tag anymore. Thank you
No.
very much, kiddies. And they're going to take down trees, and they're going to widen the parking lot. It's going to be pretty nice.
Make a nice entrance to Cass Park.
Yeah.
All right. So that's all starts on Monday. So be aware of that's going to take place. The knocking down of the Ho Kong restaurant, which the city has taken over. They purchased
the property.
and so they're getting rid of it. So yesterday morning, a little problem there in Cumberland as a propane leak took place, and it says a hazmat team was called. I hear the hazmat team came from Woonsocket, Dave, to take care of this 30,000-pound
I wouldn't be
gallon tank
surprised.
that was leaking.
I wouldn't be
the
surprised.
propane. They at the Ashton Parkway,
Yeah.
and I think if you go down
It's off-
Menden Road,
go down Menden Road, turn right, you go down the hill.
and down the hill,
Right.
right near Angel Road, like right across the street from Angel.
Kind
If
of,
you know
yeah.
Cumberland,
But,
in
well,
that
Angel
area.
Road's really on the
It's on the
east
west-
side of
yeah.
Menden Road, and this would be the west side, where the
But they-
industrial
They
parts
took
of it.
care of it, and no issues, no reported injuries. So, yay for that.
Yeah.
So that took place.
But the damning thing is that they reported that the valve malfunctioned due to age and lack of maintenance.
now that's a concern.
Yeah.
Especially the lack of maintenance part.
Yeah.
Are we not looking at these things? It doesn't say in the news story, who owned it.
But was that 30,000 gallons of propane?
It was called to a 30,000-gallon tank that was leaking.
Yeah.
Doesn't say how much was leaked out, but the tank
Well,
held
okay.
30,000 gallons.
Okay.
It's like the truck on 146
That's
only
right.
leaked 100 gallons, but how many gallons did it have
Right.
that it was carrying? So, all right, but no injuries, so good news there. We did have a note that was called in 766-1240. This was sent in. It's talking about the Republican debate that took place last night in
That's
Milwaukee, but the note came in before the debate took place. So it just says,
Really?
well, the debate of GOP's
How
is
can it
tonight,
observe the debate? Oh, I
meaning
see. I
last
get it.
night. And we all know about the renegade not being there. That would be Trump. However, the devil's advocate, Ron DeSantis, is a Trump in the making. All right. Many curious moves and statements. Here's just a few. One, we can start with the very confusing move with COVID at Disney World. Mickey didn't buy it. Two, the audacity of sending thousands of migrants in buses to New York. DeSantis is known to do that. And three, now desecrating his Ivy League alma mater and turning against them. I don't know where he went to. I don't know where he went to college, and I don't know what he's done to desecrate them. So I don't have too many thoughts on that one.
Well, this is Coffee Ann, so we're not in the business of fact checking. We just discuss things, and hopefully it's interesting for people to listen to. But we do want to point out that we haven't fact checked any of that venom that's in that little message right there. It may be true, and it may be exaggerated. But I looked at it as last night's debate was the meeting of the Donald Trump fan club, except for a couple of dissidents who really don't want to support.
Well, I wouldn't call it I watched some of the debate last night, not all of it.
Well, didn't they ask the question? Okay, so it's like this: Trump has 54% of the polls right now. You guys are, dealing with small slices of the pie. Is there a chance that any one of you could be the presidential nominee? Absolutely. Trump could die tomorrow, because anybody could die tomorrow.
Well, they didn't ask it that way.
And so, but if he's the nominee, are you going to be good doobies and raise your hand and say, yes, I'll support him?
Yes, instead of asking them one each for a yes or a no, the moderators there on Fox News said, please, through a show of hands, all of you at once, and there were 8 of them up there on the stage. Will you support, if Donald Trump is the Republican nominee, will you support him? And they just wanted a show of hands. The first hand that went up was that new guy, and I don't, maybe it's like Vivek Swamy something.
Yeah, Sawami.
Yeah.
Sawame, yeah.
His was the first hand up, and then the rest started coming along. And right down the line until they got to Chris Christie, who half-heartedly put his hand up, almost like he had a question. And then there was the governor of Arkansas, former governor of Arkansas, Asa. Great name, Asa Hutchinson. He absolutely said he would not support Trump as the nominee. He's the only one that said no. Chris Christie said,
"I really back to another fan
debate.
club."
No, he will not be invited to Trump's. He's not going to Mar-a-Lago anytime soon. Chris Christie said, I probably will. I don't really want to, but he probably would. And Christie's big thing is we got to bring back decorum to the White House, just the way Trump has handled himself as president.
Big buffets.
We gotta. No, they didn't go down that line. Okay. And they just said you gotta act better. Is basically what he was saying. And the way he acted it's beneath the office of president of the United States.
We can all think that.
Well, that's what Christie said. Yeah.
There are going to be some people with a little less self-respect or a little less, self-governance, who are going to say, oh, you say I'm not acting like a president. Well, I am the president. So whatever I act like, that's how a president acts. You got it? Thank you very much. Drop dead. Goodbye.
But he didn't say it that way. He just said your actions
are
beneath the
Don
office.
Trump would not be able to put together a sentence that long, I don't think. But anyway, because he's just a very right to the point type of speaker. He doesn't process what he's saying before he says it unless he's planned it ahead of time and is doing something pre-prepared. But if you just talk to him off the cuff, he's going to spout off with stuff because he doesn't use the same filters the diplomats use. Unfortunately, he's the leader of a free nation back when he was in office. And the people that he's leading expect him to act more like the ones before him, and he said, to heck with that.
No, it's going to be different. All right, more on, I have a little bit more to say on last night's debate. I will when we come back after a break here on the Coffee and Program. You can call in your comments or questions at 401-766-1240.
For an Allstate agent, providing protection options that fit your life is something they take, personally. Allstate agents are committed to learning about your needs and helping customize protection to meet them. From bundling your home and auto insurance with ease to evaluating optional coverage, your Allstate agent can help build an insurance proposal that fits your life. And just as important as learning what you need is learning what you don't. Because helping you get coverage you want with savings you deserve is what Allstate is all about. It's time to get coverage that's catered to you. Are you in good hands? Call Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, two locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. One telephone number, 765-5000. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Allstate Property and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee in Pawtucket. They're a 62-year-old family business that roasts all its coffee right here in Rhode Island. Founded originally as Excellent Coffee Company, they provide great coffee to food service establishments throughout New England.
Have you heard of Scott McGee with RE/MAX Properties? He's been selling real estate in Rhode Island and Massachusetts for the last 17 years, and you can see that he loves what he does. Scott, as well as his team, take pride in what they call the fair and honest team. No gimmicks. And no, they're not buying your house if it doesn't sell, etc. Just fair and honest real estate. Scott personally works with tons of sellers and buyers and specializes in residential properties as well as commercial. And he's always very fair and offers super competitive rates. Remember, this is probably the biggest move in dollars that you will ever spend or receive. You want to go with a trusted and experienced agent. Scott is fair, honest, and modest, always puts the clients first. And he also dealt with literally almost any situation. You really need to look at your real estate needs as a business. You want to pay and get the right money now so that you're not paying for it later. Trust me. So why not give Scott McGee a call at 401-639-2906. That's 401-639-2906.
It's Coffee Ann on ON, AM, and FM. Thanks for joining us this morning. Joe Callahan here, along with Dave Richards. And Sue
Joe.
Tessier McKenzie from The Call has joined us. Hi, Sue.
Good morning.
Look, there's Sue.
Yes, Sue. Yes, Dave.
You can wait to Ronnie. Ronnie's out in the lobby.
Hi, Ronnie.
No, you're not on camera. Sue is.
I know, but you told me to wave, so I did.
There you go. I was talking to Sue at the moment. Yeah. Interesting thing, on Tuesday when we went out to the Beef Barn car night,
Yes.
I was hoping I'd see my pal Paul Van Ars out there. I've seen him there before, but I somehow missed him. I saw some of our other friends over there, like Steve and Gary and a bunch of others. But anyway, Paul Van Ars is listening in this morning, and we had a little talk about, will you knock this stuff off, please? Doggone it. You know better than to be texting me while I'm on the air, for pity's sake. Let's see. Who is this, and how do I stop it from making... Oh, it's Steve Peluso. Jeez. I'll read that later. So anyway, so here we are. So Paul's listening this morning, and he sent over something that we talked about earlier, Joe.
All right.
That is the theme from the Andy Griffith Show.
So I was asking if there were words to this.
Yeah, you said you didn't think there were words, and I said, "Oh no, there's words for it. I've heard them, and it has something to do about the fishing hole and stuff like that, right?" Well, the title of the song is "The Fishing Hole," written by Earl Hagen and Herbert Spencer, with lyrics by Everett Sloan. And I'm not going to be able to sing it properly here, but I'll just give you the first line or so. And by the way, we know you're very musical, so we've put this together. He's actually scanned it and sent it over to you, Joe, for a souvenir.
Thanks, Paul.
And you know how that song goes? Da 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 da. Okay, so the lyrics are, "Well, now take down your fishing pole and meet me at the fishing hole," etc., like that. So we got. He asked in the email that I hand this to you, Joe.
Thanks,
So
Paul.
now you have a souvenir. Thank you,
and
Paul.
And the notes. Oh, great.
Well, I think Joe should sing it next time around.
I'll work on that for next week, okay?
Yeah.
All right, this segment of the Coffee and program is sponsored by The Call newspaper.
Do you have an apartment or home for rent?
Or perhaps you have extra items to sell. With over 50,000 readers in print and online, The Call and OneSocketCall.com is the best place to reach customers here in the Blackstone Valley. Whether it's apartment rentals,
The Woonsocket
homes
Call
for sale or
is
rent,
more than just
lost and found items, or even job listings, our classifieds offer an affordable way to reach readers, subscribers, and advertisers every day of the week. So, if you have something you want to sell, call us today at 767-8503 with your ad, and it will appear in the next day's call. Be sure to call before the 2:30 p.m. deadline. That's 767-8503 to place your ad today. Okay, Coffee and on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. And just to get the Sue up to speed, we're just talking a little bit about the
fishing hole.
Republican debate last night. Dave didn't see it. I saw a little of it. I don't know did you watch any of it?
I did not.
Okay. Just a couple of thoughts I had on it. The governor of North Dakota, Doug Burgum, nice guy. I think he should drop out. Only because they were asking
Well, he
questions.
won't be asked to the party anymore.
No, he was okay. He put his hand up if he would support Trump.
Oh, North Dakota. It's the Arkansas guy.
Arkansas guy, the
Oh,
former
okay,
governor
that's
of
right.
Arkansas. He will not be asked back.
Really?
No, they asked who was going to support Trump, and he said no. So, but
yeah.
Doug, they were talking about crime in big cities and how it's escalating and how it's going nuts and like that. And Doug came out and his answer was just so what I thought was just naive. He said, you got to do like we do it in North Dakota when all the farmers get together and we help each other out. I'm like, I'm dumbfounded. I'm like, all right, North Dakota's a fine state and Fargo's a decent sized city, but it's not New York and it's not L.A. and it's not Chicago. I said, I think this guy's in over his head.
Yeah.
So he could go away. The new guy, Vivek, how do you say his last name? Swami?
Sawame, I believe.
38-year-old kid.
I do better when it's in front of me.
Yeah. He was actually pretty good. So I was impressed with him. Another guy, Senator from South Carolina, Tim Scott, also very intelligent. I thought he was good. And Nikki Haley was up there. She's the only woman.
Yep.
She did at one time pull out the gender card. I wish she hadn't, but she did.
Yeah.
And because she said something along the guys were arguing about something, and she basically said, "See, if you want confusion, ask a man. If you want something done right, you ask a woman." Of course, all the women in the crowd all cheered.
Of course.
I'm like, I wish she hadn't gone there, but she did.
So sexist.
So it's like, that's too bad.
What are you gonna do?
But
Well, they'll learn.
Yep, they're kind of split on the whole abortion thing, and I forget which one wanted. One of them wanted a nationwide ban on abortion. I think that's Pence, but I'm not positive on that. And the others like, no. Let's give it to the states. We'll let the states decide what they want to do.
Well,
So-
that's a good federal cop out. It's been used many times.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
this
it
is
is.
a hot potato. Let the states do it. They
yeah.
did it with liquor laws, right? They did it with marijuana.
Well, they
Oh
wanna do
well,
it-
we got it on the books, but we're not going to do anything about it. Let the states figure this out.
Well, that's what they said when they
It's just
overturned
too
Roe
hot to
versus
handle.
Wade. We just threw it back to the states, and you guys deal with it.
Right.
But one of them wanted a nationwide ban. I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't know
that's-
about that.
That's not a good
I don't know
statement
if that's
to
gonna,
make.
that's gonna fly. So, anyway, it is what was funny last night. They did say the Fox people, the two reporters, just said, "Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room." We're actually the elephant not in the room. I said, sorry, that's pretty funny. And they talked about Trump for a little while and how he's going to be down in Georgia doing whatever he's going to be doing down there, and like that, and they said kind of like you would support him. Others would say, no, I support the Constitution and like that. But what if he's convicted? Can he still be president and like that? Most said no, like that. But if he's acquitted or if he's still running and if he gets the nomination, would you still support him? And most said yes, except for the former governor of Arkansas. So
Right.
Well, he's just returning the favor.
Yeah.
Because Mr. Trump, when asked the question, will you sign the pledge?
oh, that's right, that's right.
And the guy's got more than 50% of the polling right now. Said, are you kidding me? I'm not going to support anybody else.
So there you go.
So now the others are being criticized for not supporting him.
Well, they weren't criticized, although there were people booing.
Yeah, well, they're not going to ask him back to the party if
Maybe
they
not.
didn't sign the pledge to support the nominee.
It did seem to be a pro-Trump crowd that was
You
just
think?
watching. That was watching. So, but it was interesting, and they did all the 8 of them all ganged up on Biden and the Democrats.
Oh,
and
of
said,
course.
We're going down
Those
the wrong
rotten
road,
guys.
and they can't.
We
do
didn't
anything
invite
right.
him here to defend himself, but that's
Well,
okay. We
you-
can beat up on him anyway.
Of course not. That's not going to happen. So they were all unified in the whole. We got to get Biden out of the White House. So,
Well, you can understand that. That's a party position, and they want to be the party in power. So, in order to be the party in power, they have to have their person in and not the other guy's party
that's right.
thing.
All right. So
Seems pretty logical to me.
we have to get Sue's opinion
Might
on
miss
this.
it.
No,
Oh,
no.
no.
We'll get your
Don't be
opinion.
nailing her with all these
Okay, let's
controversial
go.
things.
No,
for
no,
Pete's
this
sake.
is not
representing a newspaper.
This
for
is not
Pete's sake.
controversial. Dave had the news story this morning. Just see if you agree with them. With the Massachusetts Department of Transportation that said the Sumner Tunnel will reopen on schedule
Yeah.
on September 1st.
Let's see Sue.
Okay.
Let's get the look on her
Let's
face
get
now.
the deer in the headlights from Sue.
I have
They-
had my
they-
own experience with the Sumner Tunnel, as many of you know,
Yeah.
with the limo business. And let me tell you, I have no idea how they're going to do it on time. I mean,
Well, they say that 75% of the work is done.
Right.
wow, that
Well,
would
it's
be good.
okay.
they say that they can let traffic come through it now and just shut it down on the weekends when it's lesser used
Yeah,
and finish things up. So eventually, if you used it as a if you use the comparison
Yeah.
of building a house,
yeah.
walls are up, windows are in, doors are in, closed in from the weather. You can use it. I mean, the water's there, the plumbing,
Right.
turned on the electricity, but the walls ain't painted, the carpets aren't down, and the outside
makes
isn't
sense.
painted, and the landscaping's not
But-
done.
but at
they
the s-
can do all that on the weekends.
Right, but at the same time, where they closed it completely, instead of closing like this side and then that side, that's where your delays come in. You're trying to get something done, and you just got to do it half at a time.
Now they say
So by closing it, maybe that's why they're on track.
well, they say they are. Now they say they're going to reopen it on schedule on September 1st. However, on the weekends it's still going to be closed,
So it'll be open on Friday, closed Saturday and Sunday.
and we'll reopen it again for rush hour on Monday morning, and it's going to continue that way until sometime next year.
Won't be any rush hour on Monday morning. It'll be Tuesday morning, Joe. Labor
All
Day.
right.
Labor Day.
But then they say once
Right.
once it is completed, once it's finished, sometime next year, the tunnel will not need any major work, and I'm putting major in quotes.
Right.
They didn't for another 50 years. I'm like, all right. I'm not an engineer.
Me either.
Don't play one on TV. Maybe they're right.
I
But
remember.
I'm like, what's considered major work though?
Right. Well, I remember one major accident that occurred in the tunnel, and
Yeah.
I had people in my car. It was early morning, trying to get them to the airport, and you didn't like if you set it on your phone, right? You know, for direction. It didn't know right away that
Oh,
there
no,
was a
that takes a long
problem.
time.
You
That
know what I
takes
mean?
a-
But oh my God, it took forever to get there because you had to loop around.
Oh yeah.
And I remember the people I had in my car were in panic, and I just apparently the flight was delayed
Oh,
due
okay.
to this situation. That's how bad it
Oh,
was.
they
So
delayed flights,
they
huh?
were flying out international. So the airlines had to be, well, what do? We have
Yeah.
less than half the people that are scheduled on this flight.
If
So
they're
there
stuck
were
in the tunnel, others are stuck in the tunnel looking for the same
Exactly.
flight.
Yeah. So we ended up we had to loop around. It was like going to
Worcester and then back.
Worcester to get to Woonsocket from North Smithfield. I mean, it was that ridiculous.
All the way around.
Oh my God, I'll never forget it. So hopefully, whatever they've done and will
Well-
continue to do will help that.
They have been working 24 hours, and so 75% is done. September 1st is just 2 weeks away.
Not even.
2 weeks.
No, a week from tomorrow.
Week from Friday. I'm sorry.
Week from tomorrow.
So we'll see if they're right. So, but that it doesn't say when they will finish when they just work on the weekends. When next year they'll be done.
Yeah.
Could be
Yeah,
another year.
they're done when they're done.
That's right. We're done when we're done.
No pressure there. We're only shutting it down on the weekends now.
That's still pressure.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
All right. We're
At
gonna
least
take
they don't have to worry about rain. They're working in a tunnel.
Yeah, if they got water in the tunnel, they got a little more issues. That's where the major work comes in. All right, we're going to take another break here on the Coffee and program. Sue, do you want to do a message for the call? Or?
Sure.
All right, go right ahead.
You know, I just kind of go with the flow here. So we at the call, as I've mentioned numerous times every week, is the offices are closed due to internal construction. There has been a bit of a holdup with the construction, having nothing to do with us. So if you
Because
do
it's
need,
construction and that's what happens
yeah,
with
we have no
construction.
control over it. Neither does does the mayor of Boston.
Okay.
But anyway, so last week somebody did call me because they needed a back issue of the paper. So by all means, give me a call. If I can help you with anything, I most certainly will, or at least point you in the right direction. You can call my cell at 487-4136. Again, Sue McKenzie, 487-4136. And we
Don't
also
call
have
now,
a
she's on the
lot
radio.
of specials coming up. And I muted my phone. We do have a lot of specials coming up. We're getting ready to do our fall home. The vote for me, it will be coming out August 31st. So be sure to vote for one of your top 5 nominations in various categories.
All right, and it is time for a break here on the Coffee and program, and we'll take a look at the weather forecast, which is being sponsored by Unbound.org.
Increasingly cloudy today with a high of 75 and a calm wind. Tonight, cloudy skies, overnight low of 61. Friday's weather, showers and possibly a thunderstorm. Some storms could produce heavy rain. High of 69 degrees Friday with a chance of rain 80% and 1 to 2 inches possible. Friday night, another quarter to a half inch of rain is possible. Saturday, rain tapers off, partial sunshine, 78 degrees. Sunday, mostly sunny and 75. Monday, mostly sunny and 77. Next Tuesday, partial sunshine and 75. And next Wednesday, officially partly sunny with a high of 75, but we're wondering about what Franklin is going to do out near the Atlantic.
Currently outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Ave and Kennedy Street with sunny skies, we have 68 degrees. A girl in Kenya dreams of becoming a doctor, an elder in Guatemala dreams of being part of a community. Reach out and change their world, and it will change your own at unbound.org. Parents, as you know, there's a lot to get done to get your kids ready for back to school. New clothes, new sneakers, maybe a new backpack. Plus, notebooks and other supplies need to be rounded up. Now, in the middle of all of this, remember to get your kids a back-to-school haircut at Edge Barbershop and Hair Salon. Kids 10 and under can get a fantastic back-to-school haircut for just $18. Stop into Edge Barbershop and Hair Salon today, and Jen, Celeste, or Angel will be ready to serve you. No appointment needed. Edge Barbershop and Hair Salon on Pulaski Boulevard, Bellingham, your full-service barbershop for men, women, and children. Get that back-to-school haircut today. Summer Sizzler sale continues at Family Discount Furniture. Come in for hot summer deals. Family Discount Furniture has a huge selection in stock ready to bring home same day. Are you having trouble sleeping at night because you're just broiling? Well, check out the new Cooling Gel Mattress lineup. See the Ashley Collection Sofa and Love Seat or Sectional. Family Discount Furniture offers flexible leasing options, no credit needed. For details, talk to Ryan or Brad at Family Discount Furniture and visit online at FamilyDiscountFurnitureRI.com. Enjoy new furniture this summer from Family Discount Furniture on the corner of Social Street and Diamond Hill Road in Woonsocket.
Hi, this is Romeo Berthium inviting you to join me every Saturday morning from 6 to 9 for The Saturday Show. This all-request program includes music, news, sports, weather, and all sorts of community announcements. And what a great way to start your weekend. Join me this Saturday morning.
ON Radio, ON Worldwide.
It is Coffee In on ON, AM and FM. Thanks for joining us. And I'm Joe Callahan here with Dave Richards, Sue Tessier McKenzie, and we're being joined at the Coffee In table by the Captain of Operations for the Woonsocket Police Department, Ed Cunanan. How are you?
Good, sir. How are you?
Very well, thank you very much. We're going to talk to Ed in just a second here, but Dave, do you want to do a message for Mr. Bob Lauder? It's his segment of the Coffee and program.
Oh, well, thanks for the warning. Well,
Give you a good 2 seconds to get ready.
yeah, so Bob Lauder, of course, is attorney at law, and to keep in mind that nowhere in the state of Rhode Island, even though there may be some intimations, the state of Rhode Island doesn't endorse any specialization for lawyers. They just say, you got a law office, you can do whatever a lawyer does in the state of Rhode Island, it's Jake with us. However, for matters of advertising and competition, some lawyers in the state of Rhode Island have chosen to make it appear that they are specializing in something. Although officially the state doesn't get involved in that specialization, and they won't test them to see if they're any good at it. That makes Bob Larder a little different than all the others. He just says, look, I'm a general lawyer. I could do anything. I could give you advice all over the place, and I'm not chasing ambulances, and I don't care about slip and falls and stuff like that as a specialization. But if you just want to take care of the usual stuff that you hire a lawyer for, come and see me. Don't go there today because he's busy. But I'll tell you, next week, go on in and see Bob, and you'll like it. It's at 267 Blackstone Street in that lovely lavender church building, that wooden church building. He's got a deal with the big brick church across the street, so you can park over there across the street, walk carefully across Blackstone Street, and go on in and see him. First consultation's free. Telephone number is 762-4550 for Robert Hope Larder, Esquire.
All right, Dave, thank you very much. And so, once again, we're here with the Captain of Operations with the Woonsocket Police Department, Ed
Now, if we
Cunanan.
couldn't have the chief and we couldn't have the deputy chief, Ed would have been my choice. I'm telling you.
You draw the short straw this morning?
I did. No.
Oh, no,
It's
no,
a
no.
pleasure to be here. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, I tell you, this guy gets himself into more trouble because he volunteers for things. He's energetic. He looks for projects to take on, and then he does his regular job.
Is that true? You look for projects?
Yeah, that's pretty true. That's
Yeah.
Thank you.
Every time you turn around with things that are outside of the usual
Yeah.
law enforcement realm, and you're looking for something with great community relations, where the police officers reach out, you're going to find Ed's name on the list.
All right. As Captain of Operations, what does that entail?
Well, in a nutshell, it's my responsibility to provide the men and women of the police department with the tools and resources they need to do the job safely and efficiently and go home at the end of their shift.
Do you have to schedule everybody?
No, I'm in charge of maintaining payroll in a general sense, but the shift commanders take care of their own.
To make
set
sure
of-
somebody's in the car or on the
Exactly.
bike or whatever.
Exactly.
There's so many questions we could ask him. I don't want to get too far afield, but I noticed the other day a couple of officers, all properly attired on bicycles, just roaming around the neighborhoods on one of our nicer days. And I said to myself, wow, that's something I never saw growing up as a kid.
I'll tell you, those bike patrols, I haven't met one person, I've spoken to one person who isn't very, very happy to see those bike patrols. And it's not, used to when we first started bike patrols, they were concentrated in the World War II park area.
Yeah.
We've expanded that to have bike patrols. Really, we've emphasized, we want you to ride in neighborhoods that aren't traditionally used to seeing you. So way up in East Woonsocket, we were talking about East
that's right.
Woonsocket a little while ago, you'll find officers riding around in those neighborhoods, and we want them exactly what you just said. We want people to see officers in uniform on those bikes, heavy presence, omnipresence, and patrolling in different ways other than a police car driving by.
Do they give you a little discount on the health insurance for these guys on bike? I'm only kidding.
Well, I have to say, in full transparency, I had a little mishap on the bike myself a couple of years ago on Diamond Hill Road, and I ended up, I fell off the bike, I went over the handlebars, I broke a couple of ribs.
In
and
uniform?
In uniform,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
and that was an embarrassing ride to the Landmark Medical Center.
Oh,
There goes the
they
discount.
But
didn't give you a hard time, did they?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I still hear about it.
But
Don't
look-
let the captain on the bikes.
let's consider this for just a moment. I mean, if you go back way before my generation, there were an awful lot of cops on the beat because you could do that, and because our population was so concentrated in certain areas of the city, that a good strategy was having cops on the beat in the neighborhood. 2 or 3 guys, a couple of blocks away, and like that. But there was danger to that because they were out on their own. They didn't have radios back then. They didn't use bulletproof vests. They had call boxes, but then again, with a call box came response time from somebody else. So you had to have a little extra moxie to go out and do that kind of a job. Then you got in the patrol cars. That gave you the radio. They gave you a certain amount of protection around you, too, in traffic. And it gave you a chance to respond faster because you could go faster. Now, with the bicycles, you can go pretty fast. You can go places a car can't go, but you don't have the protection. As a human being, okay, you're a sworn police officer, but as a human being on a bicycle, you don't have the same protection that you have in a police car.
Yeah, that's true. It's certainly one of the considerations you have to think about, and you got to train these guys and girls properly to not do what I did and fall over the handlebars.
Could happen to anybody, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it happened to me when I was a kid.
Well, I've been across the one end of the city, and an emergency comes out on the other side of the city, and now you better be in shape too.
Oh, yeah. And you don't have lights and siren.
No, well, there is a small horn that's a little bit different than the typical, little bell. Put some cards in the spokes.
Now our imaginations are running wild here, boys and girls. But I just wanted to make a point of and that'll go till what? As long as the weather's good?
Yeah, we usually run from about April to sometimes even late October after Autumn Fest. When the weather starts turning, then we have to put them away for the winter.
That's something big that's coming up. The biggest planned event in our city in any year is Autumn Fest. You guys get geared up for it as well, right?
Absolutely. I grew up in the city.
Sure, I know.
Autumn Fest still. My wife is on the Autumn Fest committee. It's a huge part of who we are, know, and so the officers understand how important this event is to our city and our community. So, we look forward to it every year.
How much of a comfort is it that big Winnebago that you have for operations, you can put that right at the entrance of the park, and you do every year? I've been inside, took a tour in there for the TV and the radio, and it's remarkable what you can do in there. There are very few things that you can imagine that you can't accomplish with that outpost.
Yeah, it's having that there has really changed the way we operate over there, and like you said, it allows us to run operations from there much more efficiently. It allows people to take a break out of the eye and get off their feet for a few minutes before they go back out there and into the community. That thing is worked really well for us.
Yeah. Now, talk to me for a minute, if you will, about what are we seeing in the trends in lawlessness here. I know here at the radio station we see an awful lot of stuff, but we get a lot of it from like the Attorney General's office. Once it's gone to the Attorney General's office, you're talking about grand juries, you're talking about indictments and things like that. And I'm seeing so many. I was talking about it with staff. I said, it seems that every time the AG sends something out, it has something to do with sexual assault or some sort of family disturbance or something like that. It's not getting better, it's getting worse, according to the AG's site. What are you seeing every day on the streets?
Well, thankfully, Woonsocket, and I just looked at the numbers recently, they're pretty consistent with last year's numbers. We live in a safe community here. We have most of our population are good people who work hard and they live the way they should be living. But we certainly have an element in the city that we need to police. But the biggest problem that we see consistently is still the larcenies and misdemeanor larcenies and lock your door at night to your car and things like that. Help us to help you to prevent yourself.
Is that stabilized now, the car break-ins?
It goes up and down every once in a while. I mean,
People
certainly
forget.
with school opening back up, hopefully that'll help us as well, to keep some of the kids off the streets till late hours of the night when those things happen. But when you're asking for trends, it's really that's the issue that pops its head up frequently. But other than that, it's really the opioid crisis and the impact that has on our community is still significant, and it's hard to get a handle on because it's such a comprehensive and complex issue to address.
I always tell our neighbors when the situation is addressed, hey, look, it's a good city, but it's a city. and there's some baggage that comes with being a city. And so you just have to address it. Thank goodness we got you guys.
I got a question for the captain here. We just had the story that was in the call about the man that allegedly shot his neighbor over a dispute using an air rifle and using pellets, and no, he's not using bullets. So is that? Do they ever say to you, "Well, it's not really a gun because it's not a bullet, so I shouldn't be charged with what you're charging me with"?
Yeah, they can say all they want, but certainly the law would look at that a little differently.
But I don't know if they actually use that as a defense. No, it's a BB gun or it's this air rifle, so it's not as bad.
Definitely the law would see things a little bit differently.
Still followed by the word rifle or gun. That's kind of like, I stabbed him with a steak knife. It wasn't meant for that. It's to cut steak. So where's that,
It's still a knife.
But
It's still a knife.
there is a differentiation. An air rifle is not a firearm.
Right.
Because firearm, there's no explosion in the bullet casing, and it doesn't throw a projectile out there. So you've pumped up air and goes several thousand psi, pushes up a lead pellet out. Well, a lead pellet and a bullet are really similar once they're airborne, coming at you pretty fast. So yeah, the damage can still be done. It's just that you didn't call it a firearm.
Okay.
But you call it assault with a deadly weapon.
Yeah, it's still, you probably shouldn't point something at somebody and pull the trigger.
It doesn't matter what you call it.
It's just a bad move. All right. We're going to take another break here on the Coffee and Program. This segment of the Coffee and Program has been sponsored by attorney Bob Lauder. When you need a skilled attorney who will fight for your rights, look no further than attorney Bob Lauder of Woonsocket. If your legal questions revolve around estates or trusts, then talk to Bob. If you're contemplating a divorce, then talk to Bob. Attorney Bob Lauder has a calming demeanor, which is very helpful in legal matters. And Bob has more than 40 years' experience practicing law. Call attorney Bob Lauder today at 401-762-4550, 762-4550. The Supreme Court of Rhode Island licenses all attorneys in the general practice of law. The court does not license or certify any attorney as an expert or specialist in any field of practice.
Rhode Islanders need a strong and effective leader in Congress, and more importantly, someone they can trust. I'm Stephen Casey. As a 17-year first responder with the Woonsocket Fire Department, I will never forget where I came from or who I work for. In my 10 years in leadership at the State House, I've brought people together from competing interests to find compromise and common ground, which is what this country needs. I'm Stephen Casey. I'm asking for your vote now through September 5th. You've counted on me. Now I hope I can count on you.
Paid for Casey for Congress.
I'm Stephen Casey, and I approve this message.
Krakow Deli Bakery and Smokehouse offers authentic homemade Polish food to make your next meal real special. Try our many varieties of hot and fresh pierogi with onions and dirty sour cream, or pick up golubki, kielbasa, babkas, or some fresh rye bread. We also offer a large selection of specialty and imported goods. We're open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays from 9 to 6, Wednesdays 9 to 5, and Saturdays 8 to 5. Follow us on Facebook to learn about our weekly specials. Located at 855 Social Street in Woonsocket, Krakow Deli Bakery and Smokehouse has all the authentic Polish foods you love.
Hi, this is Noel Pinsence. Myself and Reverend Ryan Simus will present a fabulous show by Father Pat from La Salette Shrine. It will take place on Sunday, September 10th, and that is Grandparents' Day at 3:30. The doors will open at 3 p.m. at St. Joseph Church, Mendon Road in Woonsocket. Father Pat will present inspiring music. This event is sponsored by the Pepin family. Pre-sale tickets on sale now, $10 at Pepin Lumbers on Cumberland Hill Road. The day of the concert, $12. Cash only. No checks or credit cards. The address for Pepin Lumber, 830 Cumberland Hill Road. And we're going to help New Beginning Soup Kitchen and the St. Joseph Cupboard. Hope to see you there.
Coffee and on thanks for joining us. This is Joe Callahan here with Dave Richards, Sue Tessier McKenzie from The Call, and Captain of Operations with the Woonsocket Police Department, Ed Cunanan. And we want to get the captain's opinion on this one because we had the story yesterday. This took place in Massachusetts, something to do up in Mass with police officers and a database that people or a website that people can go to check what kind of infractions. Is that a best way of putting it, Dave?
Well, I don't know. Where are you going with it?
The story we had yesterday, police officers that have gotten in trouble.
Oh, disciplinary action.
Disciplinary action. That's right. From small things like speeding up to the real major stuff. But the public can see everything that's been done.
Crazy. They put it all on the website.
Yeah.
And you know what I said before you answer, Ed, because I have a feeling I know where you're going to go with this, because you're a pro. But I looked at it and said, okay, listen, Massachusetts, guess what? You think you got trouble hiring kids as police officers now? Huh? Now look, it goes to me, it goes to the same thing as, oh, we can't get letter carriers, the Postal Service says. You treat them like bums to begin with. You put people behind them saying, well, your stride isn't wide enough. And you shouldn't take that corner. You should cut that corner. And you follow them around doing their job. You want to treat workers that way. They're not going to want to do the job the same way they would if they were being left alone. All right, rant off.
Okay.
Let's see what you have to say.
I think that was a pretty good response. Let's rest on that one. No, there's a delicate balance between transparency and the expectations that the community should have from their police officers, and exactly what you referenced, that there's some things that happen that have to be addressed, but not everything has to be, in my opinion, has to be public knowledge. We have to be able to maintain or make sure that our people are doing the right thing when they're supposed to be doing the right thing, and then handling any infractions fairly and accordingly. For sure. But I don't know that I would have everything on somebody's disciplinary record available for everybody to see.
You're hiring human beings.
Exactly. And you just mentioned something really, really important, and I hope to get into that. But the recruiting of police officers is a critical issue in this country today.
Right.
And I think
right here in Woonsocket.
Absolutely. We're banging our head against the wall trying to fix this problem. But you raise another issue with our expectations of police officers, and the more layers that we put on top of that, the more difficult this issue becomes.
You see how difficult it got to get good school teachers because we started treating them badly as a society. And anytime you want to go out and vent your spleen on a particular group of people, it's going to make that group of people not attractive to people deciding career choices. And so I'm concerned about that. But what concerns me additionally, I won't say even more, but additionally, is that you're going to have, I can just picture it. You're going to go to district court and someone was caught for speeding, and the arresting officer is there, and they said, we looked it up on the web and you got a speeding ticket once. Yeah, well, case dismissed. I mean, this will lead to a certain type of anarchy in my imagination, and I hope I'm never right.
Oh, that's a great point. I've gotten speeding tickets myself in my past, and nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes.
Right.
And we all, have things that we have to atone for. But you make a great point.
But Woonsocket Police are doing a recruiting drive now?
Absolutely.
What are you doing?
We started up the recruiting process again. Just I'd say about 4 or 5 years ago, we had more than 200 applicants. You care to venture how many applicants we got when we did this last year?
30.
37 was the amount.
Wow.
So that number from 200 went down to 150 to 100 to 37 last year.
But then that's 37 applicants. Then you have to vet them, and there might be 20 people that go to the academy, and then you might have 5 or 6 wash out. So instead of 200 applicants, you end up actually producing 12, 15 police officers.
Yeah.
And they may not choose to work in your department. They may choose to go someplace else.
Well,
Plus, you got probation, so you really can't use them the same way until after a year they've been on the force.
Sure. And the problem is that every department is going through the same issue, and we're all fighting over the same small qualified applicant pool.
Right.
And so now you could have officers that join our department, and then within a couple of years they want to go to their own hometown department or wherever they're from. And so everybody's taking each other's newly recruited and trained police officers back to their department. So Every chief is facing these same issues. They're all talking about how best to approach this, but when it comes down to it, this shortage of people who want to be police officers in America is a critical issue, and we better start paying much more attention to it than we are.
Can we talk for a second about the flock cameras?
Sure.
Do you know how many we're using now? Because it started off with just 2, but I know that we added some. And the reason I bring up the flock cameras is that I know the chief was very high on them, and he was hoping against hope and made his case, and he got the support of the administration to go forward with it, and the council too, to go forward with it here. And we were only the second community, I believe, in Rhode Island that to actually do it. Cranston was the first. And he was saying, we've got successes with that. And now we read in the call and we hear on the radio news that the bank robbery down on Federal Hill, flock cameras came into play in building a case against the people who have been charged in that crime. And including, I guess there was one right here on Park Avenue that took the Woonsocket resident plate came up on that. And it's, to me, that's something to be proud of, and it's quite the success. I don't know, but what's the buzz there at the police station? Are you feeling the same?
Yeah, these cameras have been very, very effective for us.
They're reliable. Are they costing a lot to keep up?
No,
You have to go out and keep changing the film. No, I'm only kidding.
No, they've done their job. They've been advertised to be. They've helped us out so many times. It seems like almost on a daily basis we're getting a notification that these cameras have helped us in some way or another. And I'm listening to the radio and you can hear it go over. So everybody in the department is very, very in favor of them. They've done everything they told us they would do.
All right, great. We got a few more minutes to go, but other things we want to get to. You have a Cops Walk golf tournament coming up?
We
When's
do.
that?
Yeah, the Woonsocket Police Department still engages in this Cops Walk, which raises money, critical funding for the survivors of police officers killed in the line of duty in New England. So we're holding our golf tournament that supports the Cops Walk mission, and it's on September the 25th over at Crystal Lake, $135, which is a pretty decent price for a golf tournament.
Yeah, it is,
these
really.
days.
I see the average is well over 150.
Oh, yeah. So I'll be out there throwing balls everywhere but where they're supposed to be going. Come and join me.
Golf joke
for a
there.
good cause.
They're supposed to go straight,
Yeah, they are, but they don't.
Well,
when
it's
I'm
not
playing.
just police officers. Of course, you have friends and supporters and things that join in on the foursomes as well. Because not everybody on the force golfs, I'm sure.
That's right.
Well, who has the time?
Exactly.
Doing double tours and stuff like that. We
Exactly.
just talked about
There's
shortages.
always time for golf. Anyway, now Woonsocket Police, they want to start up the Citizens Police Academy again?
We do. This is part of our community policing initiative, and it's comprehensive in what it tries to do, from explorers to self-defense classes, everything that we're trying to do. And this is just another facet of that. And what we do is we take people from the community, bring them into the classroom when we have a conversation with them. We talk about what policing actually is versus what they've been socialized to believe it is. And from that, we hope to get a better understanding of exactly what we're doing. So we're starting that again in the fall, September, I want to say, 13th on Wednesday nights from 6 to 9 over at the middle school. And that class is usually
Which middle
well
school?
attended.
Hamlet?
What's that?
Hamlet Middle?
Hamlet, yeah.
How many weeks?
I'm sorry?
How many weeks?
10 weeks.
10-week course,
10
okay.
weeks. So it ends around November 15th or so.
But it's still an early night. You get out pretty early, right?
Yeah, but to be honest with you, most of the people who attend the Citizens Academy, they're there for, they want more. They're interacting.
They don't want to go home right away.
No, they want to. We get them interacting with some kind of scenario-based stuff, and they get very into it. It's interesting, and it's reassuring to know just how much people are invested in what police work is once we start having those conversations.
As the class goes on, do they get to ride with the officers?
Ride-alongs are a little bit challenging because of the day and age we're in. There's a little bit of a liability issue there that scares me a little bit.
The insurance companies won't like that.
Yeah. But we do get them out there, and like I said, we put them in scenarios. They do some radar stuff on the side of the road. They They engage with the canine, which is always a big thing. They do some crime scene stuff. We cover a lot of different
Teaching them
issues.
how to be better observers.
Exactly. Yeah, sure.
And so after they complete the class, are they just another set of eyes for you out there in the streets, and then they contact the police when they see something is going on?
Well, I would hope so, that they would use their training to be better observers, for sure. But it's about developing that partnership, that lasting partnership, and better understanding of what police is all about. And from that, we have a better cooperative effort.
Well,
because
there'd be kind of a participation in this program might be brownie points toward an application to become a full police officer, wouldn't you think? Something you consider?
As a matter of fact, one of the applicants for this upcoming class is I want to be a police officer. So
Yeah,
this would
great.
be a good chance to have a conversation with you and see what it is you guys do. So absolutely.
Nice.
All right, we've run out of time here at the Coffee and
Aw.
program. We could keep going for another good hour, I think, with the captain, but we got to move along. So sorry about that. Dave
Gotta
Richards,
get him back out to the police
He's got to go
department.
back to his job. That's right. So
Yeah.
Dave, thanks for coming in.
Well, I'm delighted. I'm delighted to share this time with my friend Sue and you, Joe, and really, really happy to see you again, Ed. It's been a long time since I've seen you in person. It took me a few moments to recognize who you were. I mean, I remember you in the blue uniform with the hat on and everything else, and without the glasses. So I say to myself, Dave, you're getting a little older. Great to be here.
All right, Sue Tester McKenzie, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me. Have a great week.
Very good. And Captain of Operations with the Woonsocket Police Department, Ed Cunanan. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me. It's been a
Always with the
pleasure.
good information with the police department. This is Joe Callahan. Have a great day, everyone. Stay tuned for Gary Smith and the crew. Do you remember is coming away at 9:30.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news.
An offshore wind power project off the Rhode Island coast has won federal approval. 65 turbines will be built next year between Block Island and Martha's Vineyard in the Atlantic. When completed, they will reportedly generate enough electricity to power 250,000 homes in the Ocean State. The Revolution Wind project is a partnership between the utility Eversource and a Danish